You do reel repair.
I do.
Repair. Tell us about that.
Well, I do. It doesn't matter what kind of reel it is. I clean, service, repair, upgrade, whatever the customer wants.
And you've been doing some seminars here this weekend at the show about reel maintenance.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, yearly, the weekend warrior guys should be at least cleaning their reels once a year. Take them off, spray them down with some soap and water, get all the grit out of the level winds, back the drags off, then they're good to go for the next year. Okay. Professional guys that use their reels every year, they should be cleaned at least once a season.
Go ahead and come right up to the mic. Don't be afraid of it. I know sometimes just so everybody comes in here, it's not used to talking to a mic wants to get as far away as they can.
No,
I think it's because it's gold.
It's gold.
It's intimidating. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I feel like Rush Limbaugh here.
Yeah.
You're not the first person to say that. But the gold mic we save for the guests because you're the important guy. So what do you see when reels come in? What are some things that you see when people bring their equipment in to see you?
Mostly it's neglect. They either leave them out in the sun all day long in the boat. It's just mainly neglect because that'll chew up the level winds. That's usually the first thing that goes. Or they've never cleaned them in 15 years and now everything's gunk.
Right.
And drags are shot and they need to be replaced.
Okay. So what's the solution for that when somebody comes in that's like, and this thing has been laying around for a while?
Just my process to clean is disassemble, get all the tough grease off, then I steam it. I use a steam cleaner. I have a steam cleaner, and then I'll put it in a ultrasonic cleaner with like Dawn, and that gets all the residue off. And then I'll put everything back with clean grease. I use Cal's Real Grease, and I use TSI 321 oil. Put everything back together, make sure everything's smooth.
Is that something that people should be doing on their own with the lubrication? How does that work?
Well, if you're gonna pull the reel apart, you have to kind of know what you're doing. Some of these reels, like Shimano's and Okuma's, they got little springs in here and there, and you can lose all that stuff.
So that's a no.
That's a no.
Leave it to the professionals, guys.
Every year, I get half a dozen reels in a bag. Say I took it apart and I can't put it back together.
So how much? Is this one thing that based on what Casey's saying, how much maintenance can a person do on their own? Is it something that
they can extend the time that I need to see it if they clean it once a year.
Okay.
They'll extend that way out.
And back your drags off. I back my drags off after every charter. Okay. All my guys do. It saves
backing your drags off
saves the drag.
Because what happens is when you've got a brass or steel gear, you've got some sort of a disc, whether it's carbon, fiber, or some variation thereof, a steel, another disc. And what you do when you got that compressed, everyone from the factory greases their drags. So when you compress that grease gets pushed out and it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And your tendency is to tighten it more and more and more as time goes on. Eventually, you're almost at full drag, and you don't have full drag anymore.
It'd be like in the restaurant world, you're in the back of every kitchen.
Yep.
When it
I
comes
see
to
every
that
steak.
Stuff. So tell us about some things that you see that maybe the average person wouldn't have an opportunity to experience when it comes to reels.
Well, stay away. If you're fishing salmon, for sure, stay away from the cheap reels.
Okay.
That's the Magdas. Most of the Daiwas until you get to the Saltist. The Saltist and up is fine. All the Shimano Takotas, they're fine. They're all built strong enough. They all have an instant anti-reverse.
What's the best reel out there in your opinion?
The one that you like.
What's that?
Don't be afraid
to say it. Don't be afraid to say it.
Whatever you like. The Okumas, they're an entry level, but if you get a convector or cold water, they'll do the job.
Sure.
So you don't have to spend $300 on a reel to have a good time. You can spend, $130 for a convector. But just stay away from the reels that don't have an instant anti-reverse.
Okay. Why is that?
They just don't hold up. They don't hold up.
And when you're kind of working on, let's say you're going to work on Casey's reels
Mhm.
that get used every day,
Mhm.
and then you're going to work on my reels that get used maybe 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah.
What do you see in a difference as far as what those things look like when they come in?
Well, his will have more wear and tear on it, but as long as he's doing some maintenance to him, you won't have to replace any parts. Just clean all that stuff off, start fresh. You know.
Is it one of those things that a lot of people say about boats? If you drive them every day, they'll be in better condition than if it sits in your garage for 3 months and you pull
They
it out.
still wear out.
Yeah.
They still wear out. The big thing is backing the drags off. That'll make your reel perform 100 times better.
So backing the drags out, guys. That's what you need to do at the end of every trip. We got Nick Cook, who's been joining us pretty much all weekend as well. Nick's got a question for you. He says, when doing a drag upgrade, do you see the reel wear out faster after a drag?
No. Absolutely not.
So better, worse, the same?
Same.
Same.
Yeah, well, I mean, the difference between a felt drag and a carbon drag is the amount of pressure you can put on that carbon drag and the way it releases.
Okay.
So you want your drag to release smoothly. You don't want it to go boom, boom, boom. How many times have you had a rod and the line is jerking off the reel? That's not good because you're putting a hole in the fish's mouth, and you want that. If that fish wants to take the drag, it wants to take it off smooth. You want to be reeling this and that drag going that way as smooth as can be. So as far as wear and tear, carbon drags wear out just like the felt drags wear out. They just wear out a different way. They're not going to tear up a gear or the washers in between because they're all stainless. Nothing like that.
Do you see any difference in, let's say, a guy brings a reel in that he's been running lead core on compared to a reel that he's been running on his wire divers?
Nope.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Again, the big thing is keeping the dirt out of the level line and backing your drags off. That's the best thing you can do for your reels.
Casey, you got anything for Chris?
No, I like his answers.
I like his answers.
It really doesn't matter what reel you have, and everybody has a budget they have to live within, but you can improve all of them.
Sure.
You can improve all of them. And it doesn't matter to me what you have. I'm not going to tell you got to have this or that. It doesn't matter.
I won't either tell you that, but I did start out and I bought a lower end reel. And what I've learned is save your money and buy the better reel instead of that lower end reel, because what happens is you buy that lower end reel because you needed to have them. You wanted to get out there, and that's what the money you had. Now you have to get rid of that reel because you want to go to the reel that you should have.
Much.
You're spending more than you would have spent if you just did it and bit the bolt the first time.
Right.
I did that in the beginning, and now I'm obviously a Shimano guy, but
I run Okumas only because I don't run them every day, and I run them on the weekends, and
they work for walleye.
Walleye and salmon.
Okay.
I use for both.
Yep.
So, but I did change the drags up, and I clean them every year. Sometimes I'm guilty of leaving them, forgetting about them, but
me too. It happens at times. At the end of the trip, you want to get home, you're tired.
It's raining out.
Yeah.
You want to put your stuff away.
You put everything away, and it happens. But for the most part, I'm pretty good. My guys are really good about it.
Yeah.
I would say Captain Pat's probably the best about it. Backing it down.
And let me clarify. When I say back off the drags, I don't mean back it off so the line's falling off the reel. I just mean back it off so that, it's not falling off the reel. It doesn't have to be completely off. But your reel should be able to the drag should be able to back off, and you can pull the line off. And the other, again, just go home and pull your reels. If it's jerky, it's done. It's time for a drag job.
Need some work done on it.
Yes.
Chris, you've got Chris's Reel Repair. That's your business, but you've got a new home. Tell us about that.
Back in April, May of last year, Steve that owns Captain Bob's had a medical issue, and I'm good friends with him. So I came over, ran the store while he was having his problems, and I just moved my business over to his place.
Nice.
So we're in Main Street in Clarence. You can find me at nyreelrepair.com. You can go to captainbobsoutdoors.com. We're all merged together now.
And you said nyreels.com is your website?
That's my original website. Yeah.
All right. So do people send you reels from all over where you get reels?
Oh, I get reels from all over the country. I've gone from Montana, Texas. I've got them all over the place. Canada,
We're talking about in our audience is really a trolling reel type of audience, but I mean, do you do like fly fishing reels and spinning reels and those kinds of things?
It doesn't matter what kind of reel it is. Center pins.
Did you go to school for this, or just you're a hands-on guy?
I was always a hands-on guy.
Nice.
And again, if you bring me a bag of parts, I'll put it back together.
That's awesome.
It doesn't really. It's just when I take a reel apart, you'd cry because it's just laying in front of you, and people have to kind of put this, and this, but it's laying in front of you, and I just have people laugh at me, but it just comes natural to me. I don't know why, but the nice thing about now me being with Captain Bob's, I can spool your reels, I can put wire, copper, lead core, doesn't matter. We also take trades, so if you want to trade it in, or you bring in a reel that's no good, I can sell you another reel. So it's worked out well for both of us.
So you talked about brands and what you like, and kind of among those product lines, we're talking trolling reels. But what about what's the hardest reel to work on? What type of reel is the most difficult?
Shimano spinning reel.
Shimano spinning reel.
The Stradics, Stellas. The Stella's the worst.
What's tricky about that?
It's just every little plastic part has a little bronze bushing in it where a pin goes through it, and there's little tiny springs, and they're brutal.
What about saltwater reels?
Saltwater reels, I don't do a lot of them because if people don't take care of them, they're just trash.
Right.
Saltwater just kills them. Yeah, it just kills them. So I do a few for saltwater guys that go on vacation. They come back. They'll give it to me after they come back from vacation. I'll clean them out, get them ready for the next year. So I do a bunch of those. But if you get, most of the saltwater guys are running really expensive stuff, and they go to the same shop that they get their line spooled on, and they're constantly taking theirs apart and re-greasing them.
All right. Well, Chris, we appreciate you swinging by.
No problem.
And
very nice meeting you.
Talking to
nice
us.
Meeting you.
It's Chris's Reel Repair, and it's nyreels.com.
nyreelrepair.com.
nyreelrepair.com. You can look up Chris, and he can help you out if you got some problems. But
appreciate it.
It's really nice for you to come out here too, and just talk to people in the seminar rooms about how to take care of their equipment.
Yeah, and in the seminar rooms, I'm actually hands-on. I'll take a reel apart in front of them, and we'll do a Q&A. So it's good to get one of those in. And if you come in the store and you got questions, and you can call me anytime too.
Very good.
Phone number's on there. I'll help you walk you through it. Most guys are not my competition. So
yeah, and that's one thing that we find with a lot of things too. I help some other people in some businesses, and we just say, hey, if you teach somebody, if somebody goes online and says, this is how you do a carburetor repair.
Yeah.
That's not a competition against you. Typically what happens is guys watch the video and go, I don't want to do that.
Exactly.
I'm going to take it to this guy and let him do the carburetor.
That's exactly
repair.
what happens.
Exactly.
Every time.
Yep. So that's why it's so good to share that knowledge, because people are looking for it.
Yeah.
They're going to try to figure it out themselves, and they're going to see what goes into it. And go,
every seminar I go to, I go through the whole thing. It says, for $20, I'm not doing that.
Right. Exactly. let Chris do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate
you again.
By.